Welcome to UFO Headline News with me, Heidi Hollis. Today is Tuesday, November 21st, 2017. We will begin with UFO sightings. There was a UFO sighting in Cebu City, central Visayas, on November 3rd, 2017. It's described as two cigar disc-shaped objects hovering over the sea. The witness states, this event happened at a beach resort on the southwestern part of Camotes Island at around 4:46 p.m. local time on November 3rd. My family and I were at the beach waiting for the sunset. I was playing some music from my outdoor speaker, so I wasn't able to hear if the UFOs were making a sound or not. And honestly, I didn't notice that there were presumably UFOs due to the brightness and the glare of the sun, which made the sky kind of hazy, until I enhanced the picture. I shot raw shots, 2 photos, edited, and then number 3, I zoomed and edited. I felt excited when I noticed the UFOs because I knew it happened in a very interesting place. First, Camotes Island hasn't had passenger fast craft boats traveling and from the sea since less than a decade ago, which makes that place somewhat undisturbed and has quite a number of caves for a small island. Second, the area is a typhoon path, and I learned that UFOs usually appear near calamity areas. And third, the neighboring island in the east is where Tacloban is, which was hit by a massive storm surge a few years back. And nearby is Biliran Island and its mysterious Mount Panama, famous for its enchanting stories of disappearing galleons, cocoa plantations, and even people. Yes, there have even been stories of people being abducted by enchanted beings. Anyways, I'm not trying to make anyone a believer that they are aliens in the area, but that is only the hypothesis I can come up with considering the facts and the stories. Ladies and gentlemen, these stories are read by their words, so if there's something missing, sometimes they get skipped and goofed. Number 2, UFO sighting, London, England. This is a blast from the past. This happened October 16th, 1977. Described as a large ball, very bright light, spinning rapidly, hovering, zigzagging, all at very high speeds. The witness states, I lived on top of a shop. I was on the balcony kicking a football when I looked up and there was a cloud that was low, moving steadily. As I kicked the ball, up something caught my eye just to the left. It was very white, bright, light, spinning at extreme speed, at first just hovering, then it started to zigzag at extreme speed. At that moment, I called out to someone to have a look, and at that moment, it moved towards me, hovered. Then from a standing start off, at about 90 degrees, at speed I have never seen in real life. No one believed me. Everyone thought I was mad, even to this day. I still get laughed at, but I know what I saw, and I know it was real. Okay. Next UFO sighting, this occurred in Chicago, Illinois. Another blast from the past. This occurred on May 31st, 1998. O'Hare. This was posted just November 14th of 2017. Commercial jet afternoon flight from Chicago to Milwaukee. I took a window seat, a few rows ahead of emergency exit. Looked out window on takeoff to see city. I saw a flattened rectangular object with triangular nose and small winglets alongside our jet window. The object kept pace as the jet ascended, then pulled ahead, so I saw 3 orange glows at the end of the object, but no exhaust and no wavering air from the heat waves. Stunned, then curious, Got so into watching it, did not mention to other passengers. Thought probably a military drone test. Took a break for a few minutes, looked back. It was gone. This next story comes to us from Linda Moulton Howe, where she interviews Brian S. Linda received an email from a now 61-year-old Navy officer who was in Antarctica. On his C-130 crew encountered a high strangeness from 1984 to 1985 to 1987. Several times, he and the crew all watched silver discs darting around the sky. He said he saw an entrance to a human ET collaboration base. Brian was told by his superiors that you did not see. Moving on to space news. Astrophysicists inspecting the skies just got a massive surprise. They discovered a huge galaxy orbiting the Milky Way that they haven't seen before. It just came out of nowhere. So, how did the recently discovered Crater 2 succeeded in pulling off this feat like a deer flying from the interstellar bushes to unexpectedly shock us? Even though the presence may seem sudden, the Crater 2 has always been there. We're just unable to see it. Now that astrophysicists know it's there, even though there are a few other serious facts that astrophysicists revealed, first of all, we cannot blame the galaxy's size for its comparative insignificance. Crater 2 is so massive that astronomers have already recognized it as the fourth largest galaxy orbiting the Milky Way. We can't blame its distance either. Crater 2's orbit around the Milky Way makes it just exactly our neighbor. Milky Way Galaxy Image Credit ESO by Serge Brunner, Frederick Tapsler, and NASA. That being said, the question arises here is how we were unaware that it was there. A new research paper published in Monthly Notices, Royal Astronomical Society, from astronomers at the Cambridge University has a reply for us. It proves to be that irrespective of being huge and near, Crater 2 is also a quite dark galaxy. In fact, it's one of the faintest galaxies ever detected in the observable universe. That, along with some much perkier neighbors, let this galaxy, which astronomers nicknamed as the Feeble Giant, remain unseen from our eyes until very now. Now that we have discovered Crater 2, yet the discovery demands some questions about what else could be out there that we still are unable to see. Astrophysicists already are talking about starting a search for similarly large dark galaxies close to us. It's a good signal that there's still so much about the universe that we all still don't know or understand. On to some paranormal and mysterious topics. The Little Hands. This story states and starts off, I've never lived in a haunted house, but my mother did as a teen. Other houses on her street had strange things going on too. A few homes away from her lived a man and his family. One night, one of his daughters went to bed with a very bad headache. The next day, she was dead. She'd passed away from an aneurysm. After the funeral, the family went away to get their minds off the tragedy, and the father asked my uncle, my mom's brother, to check on the pets. My mom and dad, they were dating then, went with my uncle. My mother had heard there was a grand piano and always wanted to play it, and my dad was studying to be a veterinarian. After entering the house, my uncle and my father headed to the basement to see the animals, and my mother went to the piano on the ground floor. She was playing it when she felt something brush by her ankles. She thought a cat must have left the basement and walked past her. So she kept on playing, and she felt it again. She looked under the piano and saw nothing. When she started again, she felt hands clasp her legs and grab them lightly. She immediately dashed to the basement, called my uncle and father, and waited for them. When they all walked outside, my uncle could tell my mom was rattled and asked what was wrong. She told him what happened, and he turned white. He told her the daughter who died used to play a game with her father. When he'd play the piano, she'd crawl underneath and grab his ankles and push his feet up and down on the pedals. Interesting. Our next mysterious topic, the unseen patient. This story says, the ambulance company that I used to work for had a haunted ambulance. Rig 12. A lot of EMTs had stories about it, but I never put much stock in paranormal stuff. That is, until I had my own experience with Rig 12. My partner and I were working on a rural community at 3 a.m. and it was pitch dark and completely quiet. We were both dozing. I was in the driver's seat and she was in the passenger seat. I woke up to a muffled voice and I thought my partner was talking. I told her I was trying to sleep and closed my eyes. I distinctly heard a male voice say, "Oh my God, am I dying?" Followed by a few seconds of heavy breathing. My partner and I sat right up and looked into the patient compartment where it sounded like the voice had come from. Things were quiet for a couple of seconds. Then we heard the click of an oxygen bottle regulator and a hiss, as if it was leaking. I turned on the lights and we ran out of the rig. I thought a transient might have climbed in while we were asleep, so we opened the rear doors. No one was there. I checked the oxygen bottles. Neither was opened. We didn't sleep much after that. Love it. Next, the impish ghost. My neighbor Diane and I had a playful poltergeist for years, and we called it Billy. I'd come home and find something put in a weird place, milk in a cupboard, toilet paper in the fridge, laundry detergent in the bathtub. Diane once called to ask if Billy had been around because she couldn't find a gallon of milk. We finally found it outside on her back steps. And sugar, darn sugar. Every morning my sugar bowl was empty. When I had enough, I'd point to Diane's home and yell, "Go see Diane." Within 5 minutes, I'd get a call from her and she'd say, "Thanks a lot," because he'd gone and pulled shenanigans at her place. This occurred for the entire 2 years we lived there. No one believed us, not even our husbands. My mother thought someone was stealing from us and we were sleeping or out of the house. My sister believed something was going on, but didn't know what. I still can't explain any of it. This next story, we're going back into the UFOs, and we're taking a big leap from a blast from the past. This comes from March 1st, 1971. This comes through a researcher by the name of Alex Mistretti. This is the witness's statements. He has graciously allowed this researcher to exhibit certain photographs and talk about certain references to the Black Vault as well. If you'd like to see the images that we're going to be discussing, be sure to go to ufoheadlinenews.com and just click on the appropriate date. This got started when I heard, this is Alex speaking, from one of my sources in Europe that some pictures that I might want to take a look at were making the rounds. These turned out to be the pictures of a French paranormal magazine called Top Secret Published. They claimed that they received from an anonymous source. That is all they have said publicly so far. top secret source and mine are unrelated. I had
Smile, we're headed to Macy's Backstage.
And did you hear about the new Backstage Scratch Win Smile game?
Yeah, everyone's a winner.
Right. Make any $25 Backstage purchase now through Saturday, December 2nd.
And score a Scratch Win Smile game card.
You're guaranteed to win a $1, $5, $10, or $25 prize.
To redeem at Macy's Backstage at a later date.
Scratch and win.
What's not to smile about? Macy's Backstage. Savings for everyday life. Details at macysbackstage.com.
made connections to the intelligence community in Europe years ago while on a project unrelated to UFOs. It was for the Congo's Mokele MIMB project that I was working on. They have always been reliable, but you know how these things go. You never really know. I've used them on information based on Russian UFOs in the past, and they have been very reliable with that. I'm obviously trying to directly get access to Top Secret's original source, so we will see. By the way, anyone can feel free to contact them for themselves. Obviously, I want to stay on point with this and be part of whatever comes out in this case, but the important thing is to get the truth and the Black Vault name extremely well respected, and that can be very much helpful. Here is what we know so far. The original anonymous source claims that the photos, were taken from a United States Navy submarine. Number 2, the location was between Iceland and Jan Mayen Island in the Atlantic Ocean. Jan Mayen belongs to Norway and is only inhabited by the Norwegian Meteorological Institute and the Norwegian military. Number 3, they were taken in March 1971. The submarine was the Navy's USS Trepang SSN 674, and the admiral on board was Dean Reynolds Sackett. Obviously, the next step is to try and locate this Admiral Dean Reynolds, if he exists. Number 5, the submarine came upon the object by, quote, accident, as they were in the region on a routine joint military and scientific expedition. Officer John Klicka was the one who initially spotted the object with the periscope. This obviously implies that it wasn't ours, and unfortunately doesn't explain the different objects seen in the pictures. Top Secret claims that on one of the pictures there are some inscriptions, but I don't have a version of this, and it's too faint to see on these photographs. Upper left of it says, official photograph not to be released, C.T. On the bottom right corner it says, unauthorized disclosure subject, security certificate SS9 674, criminal sanction. I cannot confirm these at the moment, and I don't know if the spelling of the certificate is just a reproduction error, since these were revealed in their magazine. All I have to say so far, and I'll keep sending you whatever information I come across. The photo gallery is of high-resolution full-page scans. The photo gallery is still below or archive what originally circulated. However, the original scans in high resolution have been posted online. We begin this series of photos with the one that is surely the most impressive. It seems to have undergone a different treatment than that of the next 3 photos. Is it a cigar that has been hit by a missile and exploding at the surface of the water? Or a UFO that is coming out of the water and ready to fly? Note that no inscription appears on the original documentation in our possession. Here are the photos that came with the letter. We present them in an arbitrary order that seem logical. However, it is maybe not the most sensible, since we don't know if the craft is flying, going out, or into the water. It is worth mentioning that one can read in transparency on 3 of the photos in our possession. Copies of the originals are apparently coming from the American Military Laboratory. On the left, on the top, official photographed, not to be released. CT on the right, at the bottom and hardly legible, a part of it having been erased because of time. Unauthorized disclosure subject. High-definition photos are available on CDR. The top photo. On this photo, we are identifying, without a doubt, a triangular-shaped UFO. It seems to be in trouble. On the bottom, if the order that we have chosen for these pictures is correct, the UFO here seems to now go sideways before plunging into the ocean. The next 5 photos show an egg-shaped object of large dimension that falls into the ocean. These pictures seem to come from another lab, Sigma, about which we know nothing. Do these photos present a single and same event, or are we dealing with 2 different events? When you look at the top, the craft, which looks like the one in the first picture, seems to be in trouble. Is it on fire? Has it come from the depths of the ocean, or is it headed there? Despite the fact that its form perfectly resembles the typical cigar shape of UFOs, it is still impossible to distinguish more details of its structure. Bottom. According to the letter from our anonymous contact, the submarine was equipped with an analog camera, thus explaining the image overlay, or double exposure, of the visible grades. I'm assuming they're talking about the double crosshairs. Too beautiful to be real, this cigar photo. We don't know. It might be the banana peel that would be used to discredit the other pictures of the dossier. Who was our anonymous informer? A reader of the magazine or a source wanting to get their share? In any event, if we haven't been able to find these photos on the internet, maybe a reader will give us some information that has evaded us. Then finally, an interesting story. An Arizona man puts property up for sale after being attacked by aliens. An American man has put his $5 million ranch on the property market, claiming that he and his wife want to give up the sticks and move far away from the place because they are sick of the regular visitations they receive from aggressive extraterrestrial beings. John Edmonds claims that ever since he and his wife Joyce moved into the 9.67-acre horse ranch on the Rainbow Valley of Arizona in 1995, they have been the victims of numerous attacks from extraterrestrials with sinister intentions. He claims that during his time living in the house, he has been forced into life or death battles with alien creatures. John Edmonds says a portal opened to the rear of his Arizona property, and there's a picture showing him. He says that one particular bloody battle occurred after the aliens attempted to abduct his wife from her bed. They actually levitated her out of the bed, he states, in the master chamber and carried her into the parking lot and tried to draw her up into the craft, he told journalists. He claims that this particular incident prompted a furious battle between himself and the aliens, which resulted in him killing 19 of them with a samurai sword. Woof, it's got skills. John said this was the aftermath of the gray he claims to have killed in an attack outside of his carport door. On his Facebook page, Edmonds regularly updates his followers with stories of the bizarre alien activity centered on his ranch, including images of the wounds he claims to have incurred when battling against the gray alien beings. Quote, wounds from recent attack here at Stardust Ranch. Upper right calf from battle with malevolent ET, he wrote in the photo caption to a grisly image, adding, this is why I want to move. John Edmonds claims these wounds were a result of one of the regular ET attacks. Here's a picture that shows John. In another image, he displayed the samurai sword in a pool of what appears to be dried blood. He claimed that this blood belonged to one of the aliens that he killed when he and his wife were attacked at home. However, he said that even the samurai sword wasn't completely effective against the marauding, unwanted visitors. Unless you cut off their head and disconnect the antenna, they instantly phone home. Even with a razor-sharp sword, it is nearly impossible to decapitate them with one swing, he explained. Antenna, samurai sword. Okay, interesting stuff. Thank you all for listening to UFO Headline News with me, Heidi Hollis. And be sure to check out UFOheadlinenews.com. To visit also theoutlanderscomic.com and my site, HeidiHollis.com. Remember always to keep informed and inspired. Have a great rest of your day.
Smile, we're headed to Macy's Backstage.
And did you hear about the new Backstage Scratch Win Smile game?
Yeah, everyone's a winner.
Right. Make any $25 Backstage purchase now through Saturday, December 2nd.
And score a Scratch Win Smile game card.
You're guaranteed to win a $1, $5, $10, or $25 prize.
To redeem at Macy's Backstage at a later date.
Scratch and win.
What's not to smile about? Macy's Backstage. Savings for everyday life. Details at macy'sbackstage.com.